Hey guys, welcome to the channel. If you're thinking about getting into trucking, or you're already in trucking and you're thinking about becoming an owner operator, take that next step, you're on the right video. I'm going to give away my two biggest assets, the two secrets that's kept me profitable. And with these two right here, I promise you, you can't go wrong with them. But first, guys, let me ask you a little question. Let's get a little personal. And let's say you take your baby to the mall and you guys are walking around and somebody comes up and insults your baby, your little girl, your little girl, your little boy, and they push them on the ground. As a parent, you're going to be furious. Now let me ask you this. In regards to whooping this person's ass, are you going to flirt with the idea, or are you going to go 100% tooth and nail? I get you. Me too. I would go 100%. Something like that is life or death, tooth or nail, and you're going to give it 100%. You're not going to flirt with the idea. You're not going to dabble with the idea. You're going to go all in. And that is step number one. One of my biggest secrets in trucking, or any area of life really, is you got to go in. You got to do it with passion. You got to do it with 100% content and go all in. And what I mean by that is you need to not dabble with your career of trucking or any aspect of life. You need to research. You need to study. You need to find mentors. I've got many mentors. These are people I've never met, never will. Most of my mentors are people of the past. They've already, passed on and stuff. But there's a lot of autobiographies out there of people, successful people, how they live life, what they thought. Everything in their process of thought in life. A lot of mentors in trucking. When I first came into trucking, I had probably about 15 mentors of old school drivers that was mentoring me. I was like a sponge. I was soaking up everything from everyone, learning something from everyone. In this thing in life, you've got to continue growing. You've got to continue learning. No matter what it is, you cannot get complacent and stop learning. That's the most pivotal point of anybody's success, is they get complacent and they stop learning, they stop growing. There's an old quote that says, like a flower, if you're not growing, you're dying. So make it your choice now to continue to grow and learn your craft. Learn from everybody. There's a lot of YouTube videos out there. I've got a lot in my library if you want to go check them out. A lot of my earlier videos on how to be successful at trucking, how to this, how to that. There's a lot of other great channels out there. There's a lot. We're in the information age, guys. Everything that you need to know is in the palm of your hands. It's right there on that phone. Dig in, do your research. Go all in. Go all in, and I promise you, it's going to excel you in your career path. Now, the next topic is actually more, to me, it's more important than rule number one of going all in. And it's having a support system. So if you're watching this video and you're thinking about going into the truck driving, or you're thinking about stepping up to becoming an owner operator and go to that next level, there's going to be sacrifice. There's going to be sacrifice. So watch this video to the entirety and send it to your loved ones back home, because your support system is going to be very, very crucial. There was a time where being a truck driver, it was very honorable, and people commended a truck driver, a trucking profession. I remember being a kid and how back in the 80s and how people looked up and admired truck drivers. And as the years went on, even when I became a truck driver, it was started losing its caliber. And even here in 2022, being a truck driver is frowned upon. My wife cannot get over this. She loves to do this. She loves to meet somebody new. And they say, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" She's like, I'm retired. I'm a homemaker. I'm just a full-time mom." "Oh, what does your husband do?" "Oh, he's a truck driver." And the look of pity in those people's eyes, they automatically assume, you know what they assume. But in reality, truck driving has gave my family a life that I could not have done working for the man back home in a factory. So she really loves to tell people that, because she gets a look of pity in their eyes, and it's kind of funny because we're kind of looked down on. and it's kind of BS. And with that being looked down on, your support system back home, your loved ones, they might tend to look down on your choice as well, because as a whole, truck driving is not an honorable source of income for the general. But we've got to change that, guys. And what I mean by that is, this is something that helped me when I came back out OTR, is I started thinking of different scenarios. And I told my wife, she's my girlfriend at the time, I said, I just don't understand something. She said, what's that? I said, I remember going into the military back when I was 22. I said, went into the military. I was going to be an aviation aircraft mechanic. And everybody in my family, all my friends, my bosses at work, everybody gave me a big old pat on the back and says, way to go, man. Way to go. And the sacrifice of that is you got to sign 4 to 6 years of your life away as a Navy. And everybody gave me attaboys and pats on the back. Now the pay on that, I think it started around $18,000 to $20,000 a year. I was going to have to be gone from my family a lot. 4 to 6 years, I was going to have to be gone, making barely enough money to get by. But everybody gave me a pat on the back. It's very honorable. And not saying it's not honorable, it's very honorable. It was one of my most honorable times in my life is when I went into the military. But years later, when I became an owner-operator, and everybody in my life told me not to do it. Everybody looked at me with pity, like shame, like, man, you're messing up. But I knew something different. I knew I had goals. I had ambitions, and I knew I could do it. But I told my wife, I said, I don't understand when I went to the military, everybody gave me a pat on the back. And it's more of a sacrifice, even an ultimate sacrifice for the nation in a lot of cases. Everybody gave me a pat on the back, but it would put my family nowhere near trucking has. The sacrifice to going into trucking is just like that versus going into the military. But everybody gave me a pat on the back. And they looked at me with pity when I bought a truck. That didn't make sense to me. And then I started thinking of our LEOs and our police officers. I got a good friend, one of my old hell-raising buddies in my 20s. We was riding bikes, partying, chasing women, doing a lot of things that we shouldn't have been doing, living our best life. He is now a police officer, and he was thinking about going into the Georgia State Patrol program. And he told me that was a 6-month boot camp for becoming a state patrol in the state of Georgia. And it made me think, that's pretty cool. 6 months gone from home. If you was to sign up and do that, everybody in your family give you a pat on the back and say, way to go, man, way to go. But if you talk about buying a truck or getting in the truck, and they're like, why? Why would you do that? There's a lot of things that you're going to have to make a sacrifice up front. Just even go to songwriters and people that write books. I read an article once, a lot of times people that write books, they will retreat in the mountains somewhere for months at a time while they write their novel. They're paying it forward right there, not paying it forward, so to speak. They're paying the sacrifice, they're distancing themselves to write their book. And they might be there 3 months, they might be there a year. Now, also look at your favorite movie stars. When they're making a new Transformers movie, they might be on set away from their family 6 to 12 months at a time to make this movie. It's a big sacrifice away from home. Now, I know you can't compare apples to apples, to truck driving to celebrities or people that write books that are multimillionaires. That's justifiable. But what ain't justifiable is, what I'm trying to make justifiable here is, to get ahead in life, you're going to make sacrifices. And being a truck driver, your sacrifices of first getting into it, you're going to have to dedicate 6 to 12 months of being away from home a lot. If you decide to go buy a truck, you're going to have to be away from home a lot in the initial start of this. Because if you're just coming into truck driving, you're going to need to build your experience. If you're going to be an owner-operator, you're going to have to build up capital to keep your money afloat. A support system is huge. I'm gonna give you an example. When I bought my first truck in 2013. My two closest friends, we was in each other's ear. These were my friends back before the whole YouTube thing, and we was in each other's ears. We was on the phone. We was on these every day, crunching numbers and finding a way to excel in what we was doing. We was each other's accountability partner, so to speak. And we dialed it in pretty dang well on how to make money in the area of what we was doing. Now, a few years into this, my one buddy, his now wife was insecure. Not a bad thing. I mean, if me and my wife my wife had been together 8 years before I went over the road, so we was pretty secure. Well, my buddy and his old lady, they wasn't together that long. She was insecure. She was home alone. She was lonely. And that started taking a toll after a few years. And he started getting, I want you to come home. I'm tired of you being gone, and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, man, I got to go home. I said, I can't blame you. If I didn't have the support of my wife, of being my number one cheerleader, I said, I can't say that I'd still be out here as well. So anyway, he came off the road. And within a few short years, he's back out here because they realized what they was doing beforehand was working a lot better than being home, working at home. And yeah, it just worked out better. My next buddy is my brother. He went through similar, but he also had a truck that was giving him a lot of problems. And it was nickel and diming him to death. And on top of that, he started hearing his old lady. He's like, you just need to come home and get a regular job. It's not worth it. All of this and that and the other. And again, if I was in his shoes, I don't know if I would have been able to stay out here on the road. But my secret weapon was my wife. It is my wife. Today is my wife. When I started talking about buying a truck and going over the road, I talked to her about everything. I crunched numbers. And she said, okay. She's like, if you think you can do it, she's like, I'm going to support you. And I gave her a plan. I gave her a plan of 3, 4, 5, 10 years down the road. And I had my plan, my goals. And I started checking them off one by one. And as I did that, she started seeing the plan that I put together, the vision. And she said, I see the vision. She's like, I know it's a big sacrifice. And we had a lot of sacrifices in the first couple years. I was gone more than I was home. But at a certain point, it pivoted around where now I'm home more than I'm gone. Last year, guys, I only put down 37,000 miles. Let that sink in for a minute. Now, we made a big sacrifice in the beginning, and that was, say, it started at the end of 2013. So just say 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 6 years, I was 100% all in. Every bit of it was hard, all in. I gave it my all. And I knew if I made more good decisions to reach a goal than bad decisions that take me away from my goal, there's only a certain amount of time it's going to take me to hit that goal. And then in 2020, COVID hit. And I wasn't going to try to run freight for $1 a mile. So I started taking time off. And I realized I hit that point where I don't have to work all the time. Good investments, good choices, set myself up. I got to the point where I was like, I don't have to work all the time. Now I'm going to get some of that time freedom back. But I'm going to tell you right now, I would have never achieved that where I'm at now if it wasn't for my wife. She was my number one cheerleader. Whenever I formed my authority in 2017, she said, I believe in you, babe. If you say you can do it, she's like, every time you put your mind to something, you make it happen. She's like, but if you cause us to lose our home, she's like, I'm probably never going to let you live that down. I said, babe, I think I got this. I got this. And again, in 2017, I got a new truck. I got this truck. I bought a new trailer. I formed my authority. And for the first 2.5 years, it was another all in. I was just gone. All because my support system. All because rule number one, I went all in. I didn't flirt with the idea of chasing my dreams in this industry. I went all in. I researched, I learned. I still learn. Every day I'm watching videos, every day learning to increase the knowledge in my brain. Because that's where it all starts. And number two was my support system back home. My wife seen the goal, and she knew if we pay now, we can play later. She seen that goal. She seen that vision, that dream that I had, and she supported me. And she never once said, you need to come back home and get a regular job. Never happened. It's a hell of a sacrifice, but I'm going to tell you, on the other end of this side, it's well worth it. Guys, if you like this video, give me a big old thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. I put videos out on the regular, all things trucking. And guys, remember, it's not about how far you go in life that matters. What matters is how far in life you go, adding quality and values to others. Until that next video, see you bye.